Are you interested in selling a property and curious about appraisals? I'm Robert with Team Yazbek at Coldwell Banker, and here to tell you a little bit about appraisals in the real estate transaction process today. From a seller's perspective, if the buyer that's offering on your property and putting your property under contract is getting a loan, then they will almost certainly get an appraisal as well. If that is indeed the case, then you should not make any big plans until you get past the appraisal contingency in the contract. Here's what happens most of the time. I would say in this market, the market's slowed down a little bit. Prices are still going up. We're not in the COVID frenzy, of 6 to, 24 months ago. But we're still seeing multiple offers on properties that hit the market at a compelling price and whatnot. So there's still a good chance that your property may go for full price or even over full price, which causes an issue potentially with the appraisal. Typically, I would say right now, 60 to 70% of appraisals are coming in right at the purchase price, right? So the agreed upon purchase price. That leaves about 30 to 40% of appraisals coming in typically low. I haven't seen an appraisal come in high in quite a while because the market has moved so fast that the appraisers really have trouble keeping up, right? Because there's not always comps or comparable sales to back up the value that the buyer's willing to pay for any given property. So let's assume we're in the 30 to 40% that does not appraise. Your options are, well, let me back up. The buyer's going to come along and say, through their agent most likely, the property didn't appraise, it appraised at X, we're under contract at Y, and they will say, we would like to buy the property at X, we don't want to pay more than the appraised value. That's typically the starting point of the negotiation. As a seller, you have a few different options. One, you can accept the appraised value and sell the property for what the appraiser determined the value to be. Two, you can say no and tell the buyer to take a hike, in which case they would probably terminate, get their earnest money back. You'd move on to find a new buyer. Or number three, which we see most commonly, you can negotiate the purchase price or some sort of seller credit and split the difference, basically. So this is pretty common. It's a negotiation. It's a time where you really want to have a good negotiator in your corner. That's typically your real estate agent. And split the difference somewhere in the middle. Doesn't have to be right in the middle, but the seller would come back with some price they're good with, and then the negotiation would take place, and hopefully you'd be able to find a middle ground that works for everybody and move forward. But definitely a significant part of a contract that you should understand going in may not, come out in your favor, or the appraisal may not come out at the purchase price, which creates a whole new negotiation and the potential for a deal to go south or fall apart completely. So if you have any questions about appraisals, I understand them intimately and would love to strategize with you if you're thinking about selling and concerned about appraisals at all.